Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ben here, and today I'm going to be doing a video on what my ideal season of Survivor would be. So now, there's a lot of talk on Survivor of ideas such as an all-winner season or things like that. And what I want to discuss is my personal favorite Survivor players ever, putting them all into one season, talking about who they would be, why I put them in, and how it would shake out. So I'm gonna go through who I've picked and why I've picked them, and I'll tell you why I put them on whatever tribe I put them on, and we'll go from there. So I have two tribes, each of 10 people. I tried to not make it all winners or all people who hadn't won. I put 10 winners and just 10 people who I liked along the way who have done well on Survivor, who are, entertaining to watch, likable. Those are really the three things that I put into consideration. Being good at Survivor, 1, being likable, 2, and being entertaining, 3. So there you go. Those are my 3 reasons. Alright, I'll start off with what I have as Tribe 1. I try to split these up so that not one tribe would have the dominant physical players and the other have all strategists or vice versa, or have one tribe with all really toxic people and one tribe with all really likable people, or one tribe with all the winners and one tribe with all the not winners. I tried to make it so that there's a good mixture on each tribe and a good diversity. So on Tribe 1, I have first off Russell. I don't think any Survivor watcher can say that Russell is not entertaining. He's definitely entertaining. I don't really know if he's likable. I don't know if I'd like him in real life, but I like him on the Survivor screen. And as far as gameplay, yeah, the first 2 times he played before everyone knew his game, he never got voted out, and then everyone just decided it'd be safer to get rid of him on the 3rd time, which I don't know if you can really count that. Survivor on Russell on Redemption Island was sort of like Michael Jordan on the Wizards. Does it count? Yeah, but do we really consider it seriously? No. Alright, so moving on, I have Yul. Yul might be my favorite Survivor ever. I don't know how to explain it. I just think he had a good blend of gameplay and likability, and he was entertaining in that his gameplay was exciting at times with the whole Penner flip and Cook Islands. I'm very surprised that Yul has not come back to play. But on the other hand, no, I'm not surprised because although he's a really good winner, he might be one of the best winners ever. I feel like when you play a near perfect game in Survivor, why come back? Because you're not going to top it. So moving on from Yul, I have, let's see here, James, who has played 3 times, so this would be his 4th time playing. Very entertaining, not a good game player. He's likable though, and very good physically. Finds idols somehow, or gets given them, and just is always a good guy to be able to watch on your screen. Alright, next on this first tribe, I have Kim Spradlin, winner of One World, season 24. I like Kim a lot. She's very likable, very smart. She's very good at the game. She made great alliances, and I think that that's enough, I want her in. She's one of the best woman survivors I think the show has ever had. Not that it matters what gender they are, but I feel like that sort of is a big thing sometimes with people, that they want an equal representation of different groups, and so I think she is an awesome winner and deserves to be in this season. I like to watch her a lot. Alright, next I have the guy that has played more days on Survivor than anyone else ever, which is Ozzy. Ozzy is just the Survivor man, I think. Boston Rob and Ozzy are very similar in that they've each played 4 times. I don't know. I think I like Ozzy a little bit better just because he's never won. So in the back of your mind, if you do or don't like him, you cheer a little bit for him to win just because he's climbed that mountain so many times and not won. You feel like you want him to succeed. But at the same time, it's kind of cool that you see him keep failing. It sounds mean, but I don't think it's mean. All right, moving on. I have Cirie, who is second place all time in days played on Survivor, behind Ozzy. She's played 4 times, and I think that, as it was talked about in her most recent season, Game Changers, the reason why Cirie is great to have on a season of Survivor is that she represents the everyman. Every American at home can relate to her in that she's not a challenge warrior. She's not some doctor or rocket scientist who is amazing at strategy. She's just a normal person who's good at listening, communicating, becoming your friend, weaseling her way in, and doing the little things that people don't notice but can really help you be successful at this game. Now moving on from Cirie, I have Jonathan Penner in my next slot. I think that Jonathan is very entertaining on this show. I think that he's likable. I don't think he's a very good Survivor player, honestly. You know, in his 3 times of playing, he's finished 7th both times, and then the other time he got medically evacuated pre-merge, so that one I'm not even really going to count, but he's only finished 7th, so he's not really amazing. In his later season, people voted him out just because they were afraid that he was going to be a really good, smart orator at Final Tribal. But I don't know. I don't think he's an amazing Survivor player. He just is good with words, but he's never really made a big move or anything to speak of. But he's a cool guy to have on there. Next, I have Sandra, the 2-time winner of the show, the most winningest person ever on Survivor. Gotta have her, you know. You gotta have the survivor of survivors on the show. And I think the funny thing always about Sandra is that she isn't your prototypical survivor. You know, she does some deceit and does some lying, but she doesn't do any challenges well. She could not swim on her first season of Survivor or her second. Only upon her third, I think, she had learned how to swim. So she's not your typical survivor, but she is likable, she is entertaining, and she's obviously a good Survivor player because she's won twice. Alright, moving on, a guy who I like a lot, Cochran. He's a very likable guy, he's good at the game, and he's entertaining, you know, he's all 3. He's really funny at times, and you can tell that he's just a nice guy, and he's won the game, so he's obviously good at it. So there you go, the 3 contingencies. I got him in there. And now to round out this first tribe, I have a person who I don't think many people would think of right off the bat, but a person that I thought did well in her run on the show in 2 seasons was Kelly Wentworth from Nicaragua, Blood vs. Water, or actually no, sorry, San Juan del Sur, Blood vs. Water, and then from Nicaragua, which I think was, no, Nicaragua season 21. Season 31, Second Chance. Alright, so she did not do well in her first go-round because her dad essentially sunk her in that he made her a target, which is unfortunate because she had a good chance of going far. But in the other season that she was on, Second Chance, she came in 4th place, did very well, had some very big idol plays, had a nose for idols. So she's a good player. She just had a bad break in her first season because she was tied to her dad, who was a very bad Survivor player. And going off of that, she is entertaining in that she can pull a blindside out of nowhere like she did on Andrew Savage in Second Chance. And also, yeah, she's likable. You know, she doesn't stand out to me for her likability. She stands out for those big idol plays, but the whole package is there. You know, she's got it going. All right, moving on to my second tribe. I have, starting off, Boston Rob, Survivor staple. I feel like a lot of people say Boston Rob is the guy you think of first when you think of Survivor. Now, I don't necessarily think of him first, but he is a very experienced Survivor player. He's good in that he's won. You know, I don't know how much weight that win can have when he was a 4-time returning player playing against all newbies, but you gotta give it to him. If you win Survivor, you win Survivor. That's that. He got to the end another time besides that in All Stars, and he did okay in his 2 other seasons. Not anything noteworthy, honestly. But he's a Survivor staple. He's likable, yes. He's a good player, yes. He's he's entertaining mildly. I think he was very entertaining. I think in All Stars, but his other 2 seasons were some of his other appearances weren't that entertaining. Redemption Island is famously considered one of the weaker seasons in the show's run, and was very, I don't want to say boring, because I don't think Survivor's ever boring, but it was more predictable. You could watch the first 2 episodes or 3 episodes and get a strong inclination that Rob was going to go very far, if not win. That's never what you want on a season, but hey, that's what happens. Moving on from him. Next I have Parvati. 3-time player, 1-time winner, runner-up in one of her other seasons, lost to Yule on her first season. Parvati is also considered one of the Survivor staples, one of the best players ever. Very good. I don't know if she's likable, honestly. When I watch Survivor, I don't really like her that well, but she is entertaining, she is good at the game, so she's in this season. Next, I have winner of San Juan del Sur, Blood vs. Water, Natalie. Natalie is very likable. She's good at the game, and she had some entertaining moments in Blood vs. Water. So I think all those are good reasons to put her on the show, I think that you could put someone else here, but I like Natalie a lot. I think that she's a solid player, and I think that, honestly, of this whole cast, I might put Natalie as one of my favorites to win, but we'll get to that later on. Next, I have Tony Vlachos from Survivor Cagayan and Survivor Game Changers. Didn't do well in Game Changers. Obviously won Cagayan. Tony has charisma. I don't know if he's likable, but he's very entertaining, which I think translates to some likability in his case, because he's not a bad guy. And he is very good at the game. The orchestrator of nearly every vote out post-merge in Cagayan, and when it came down to it, he had a good strategic game to get to the end, and he's really a good Survivor player. Next, I have Spencer from Cagayan and Second Chance. I think that Spencer could be considered one of the best players in that realm with Ozzy to never win Survivor. He got 4th on his first season, and he got, I believe, he was tied for 2nd on his 2nd season. That's about as close as you can get without winning, right up there with so many others like Ty, who also did that. And so, I don't know, I think Spencer's very smart. He wasn't that likable in his first season, but he came around a little bit more in Second Chance, and he's a good Survivor player, and he's entertaining in that, he could find an idol, he could win an immunity, you never really know what's going to happen. Something could be up his sleeve, you're not really sure. I think that Spencer is the modern-day Survivor equivalent of Amanda Kimmel from China and Fans vs. Favorites and Heroes vs. Villains. I feel like he's destined to just get very far every time but not win for some reason. Alright, moving on, I have Coach from Tocantins, Heroes vs. Villains, and South Pacific. I feel like he's just such a good storyteller. He's very charismatic and likable, and he is very entertaining. And I think he's good at Survivor. He came in runner-up on South Pacific. So, there you go, all 3 of the elements that you gotta have. Next, I have Keith Nail from here. He was on Blood vs. Water and season 31, Second Chance. He came in 4th and 5th. In Blood vs. Water, if they stick with the 3 women strong and they vote out Jacqueline at the 5, and then Keith is in the 4, and Baylor and Missy and Natalie are all still there, I think that Keith wins the next challenge, and Keith is our Survivor winner of season 29. It's very hypothetical, but I think that if Keith ever gets to a final tribal, he will definitely win Survivor. Just because, as likable as anyone on Survivor has ever been, I would put dollars to donuts that Keith is the most likable Survivor player ever. And almost based on that alone, I think he could win a season of Survivor. Maybe not an all-star season, but he would have a good chance. Alright, moving on. I have Ty next from the second Brains vs. Bronze vs. Beauty season 32, and then also Game Changers. And on those 2 seasons, he came in as runner-up in his first one and in 4th on his second one. So he's obviously a good player in that he can get super far, really good with idols and all that. He's very likable. Right in that vein of Keith, I think that he could win a season based on his likability almost. And then, is he entertaining? Yeah, finding the idols is very entertaining. Just all of his little things he does are very entertaining. The thing where he went streaking was really funny in Game Changers, and everything about him is just, you can tell he's a really good guy, so he's fun to watch. Alright, next I have Denise from season 25, Philippines. I think that Denise is really good, a really underrated winner, but very good in challenges. She's good strategically. Nobody was really angry at her at the end. She played good socially. I think that Denise played a very good game, so I think that she definitely fits that category. As far as entertainment, maybe she's not entertaining. I don't know what people would say. She didn't demand a lot of attention in her season. She was overshadowed by the likes of Michael Scoopin a lot and Malcolm. But she's, she was entertaining at parts. She's the first person to ever be at every tribal on a season of Survivor. So she's got that going. And she is very likable. I liked her a lot. She came off very genuine and sincere in every scenario. So I got to give that to her. And rounding it out, I got a guy that might go down as the most likable winner ever, and possibly one of the few people that has won a season based as much on his likability as his gameplay. JT. Now JT has come back after his winning season, and frankly he's fallen flat on his face. So I don't even know if I'd call him a good Survivor player. He's probably an average Survivor player, you got to average that win with his falling flat seasons in season 20 and season 34. So he's an average Survivor player, I'll say. I think that the problem was that in Tocantins, he had Stephen Fishback to sort of handle all the strategy. But when he's been left to strategize on his own, he's done weaker in that he's given idols away and stuff. So not a strong strategic player, I wouldn't say, but he's very likable, so he's got that. And he's very entertaining in that, he's been involved in some crazy things like losing the tooth, giving away the idol, winning Survivor. So he is entertaining. He wins immunity challenges, so there you go. And that's everyone I have for my season of my personal favorites. I like all of these players. I find them all entertaining in some way, or very good at the game, or very likable. I think that they could all do well theoretically. I think that my favorites for this season would be probably Natalie from San Juan del Sur, Kim, maybe, let's see here. I feel like some of the typical targets like Parvati, Sandra, Boston Rob, I don't think that any of them would win because people are just so tired of seeing them do really well. I think that you might see people like Keith and Ty slip by to a final 5. I think that Cochran could have a good shot this season. If he gets on a tribe where his brain is appreciated and people don't hate on his lack of strength, but I don't think that Ozzy would win. I don't think that James would win. Definitely not Russell. Jonathan Penner, I don't think he's of winning ilk when it comes to Survivor. He's just entertaining. Suri is in that Keith and Ty area where I think that she could get far, but I don't see her ultimately winning. I could see Spencer win this too, you know. Spencer is a good mind, and if he gets the right people on his side, he could go far. So that's what I'm going to say are my favorites for a season like this. Spencer, Kim, and Natalie. And as far as tribe dynamics, I did not put Tony and Russell on the same tribe because I feel like that'd just be way too much to take in. I feel like I tried to split people up. Like I didn't want to put everyone who had been with everyone on the same season. So I didn't put Parvati with Yul or Ozzy or Penner or Sari. But, you know, sometimes it's inevitable. I did put Yul and Ozzy and Penner all on the same team. They had all played together. You know, some of these people played together but not for very long. Like, I don't know. Ozzy and Cochran played together for a long while. But, like, Russell and Sandra, you know, they played together, but they didn't really play together. They were just both there. But they did not like each other, so it'd be interesting to see them settle the score. You know, James and Sari, they played together 2 seasons. You know, I tried to split. It was very hard to split people up. I didn't want Russell and Boston Rob on the same tribe because we sort of saw what happens when those two go head to head in Heroes versus Villains. I didn't want Russell and Parvati on the same tribe. Tony and Spencer ended up on the same tribe. I thought that would be an interesting thing to see play out, and it wouldn't be too repetitive from their first season. Coach and JT are on the same side, but same thing. I don't feel like there's any like beef that wouldn't be too weird to unfigure out or whatever. And, you know, like people like Ty and JT, that's an example where they played together so briefly in Game Changers that I don't really think it even affect the current season. And I put Wentworth and Natalie on opposite sides, but I don't think that was too big of a deal, really. Natalie and Keith are on the same side, but never really aligned, so I don't think it would matter in a new season. But I think some of these things would be interesting to see play out. You know, Russell, very headstrong on the same tribe as Penner, very vocal and headstrong, along with Sandra, very vocal and headstrong, along with James, very vocal, very headstrong. But then on that same tribe, I put Ozzy too, very vocal, very headstrong. But on the same tribe, I tried to mix that with. Those were a lot of hotheads, but a lot of people who are calm too. You know, Yul, Kim, Sari, Cochran, all very calm, easygoing people. I didn't want to do a chaotic, crazy people versus calm, cool, collected people, because that would just be boring to have to look at the calm, cool, collected tribe when they were all the post-merge because all the other people had voted themselves off. And on the other tribe, you know, I think that Boston Rob and Parvati, they didn't really play together or interact that much in Heroes versus Villains. That could be a power duo that could see go very far. Coach, you know, him and Boston Rob, it'd be interesting to see how they interact, and him and Parvati too. I think it could be a very cool season. And if Survivor or Jeff or CBS come across this video in any way, shape, or form, consider it. This could be a cool cast. It's got a mix of old and young Survivor players, you know, people who are old school, people who are new school, people who are right in the middle of the road. It's got a good representation of types of players, you know. Not everyone's a challenge beast, not everyone's a strategist, not everyone is a social player. It could be a fun season. It's my personal picks, but I think that it could provide some entertainment and some fun. Alright, that's all I got for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.